here on Jefferson Avenue at the Tops. The chain link fence, the police presence shows it's the scene of tragedy 2 weeks ago, but not too long ago it was the scene of celebration.
It definitely was, Pete. This was a supermarket that was so anticipated for the city of Buffalo, specifically the East Side. I remember being inside and there was just jubilation. Jubilation because people were able to walk from their homes and go to a supermarket. It was in their neighborhood. It was going to be doing something good for this community.
It was an oasis in a food desert.
It was an oasis. It definitely was. But then that quickly changed. And here we are now. And so we're going to be talking with someone who is not from this area, but you are definitely immersed in it. Pastor Julian Cook from Macedonia. Thank you so much for joining us on commUNITY.
Thank you for inviting me to be here.
As you stand here outside of Tops, tell us what you're thinking and how you can help this community.
Well, as I stand here, as I have for several days now, made a daily trip, I'm just filled with emotion, right? I mean, this site, as you said, of celebration, a center for community in many respects, a place that so many of my congregants and fellow community members, students that I teach at Houghton College, this is where they come for their groceries, but it's also where they came to pay their bills. It's also where they came to meet with friends, right? This is at the center of this corridor, and the way in which it has been turned into a site of such tragedy, of such racist trauma, has been just incredible.
Even the people who survived the attack that were in the store are victims as well, because they're going to be going through survivor's guitt, PTSD,
and we're already seeing
plethora.
it. We're already seeing it. I have an 80-year-old woman in my congregation who just a few weeks ago, I had to call her. She wasn't going to pick up her prescriptions because she didn't want to go into a grocery store. She was terrified.
In a victory that was stripped from this community, stolen by someone, a racist from 2.5 hours away, but also the shooting, the fact that this store was so celebrated are symptoms of a greater problem.
Absolutely. The reality is that this is the only grocery store in this corridor for about a 2-mile radius. It was often, it was a site of community, but it was the only site, right? And so we have to think about what it means systemically for this to be the only location for many folks to get fresh fruits and vegetables. And that's a problem.
What are people in your congregation saying? Do they want to come back here, or is it mixed?
It is a mixed. We're really seeing a mix of feelings around this. There are some who are saying that every time they re-enter this space, it will be re-traumatizing, right? That this should be some type of sacred site, but not a shopping center. And then there are those who say we fought so hard to get this here that we need to reclaim this space. And I can see value on both sides. So for me, as a community leader, the verdict is still out on that. I need to think through that a bit more. There has to be economic investment. You can't change this situation until we deal with the disinvestment that has happened in this community. There's a reason why there's only, as you said, one grocery store, right? And it has to do with the lack of jobs. It has to do with the history of redlining that is a part of Buffalo's deep history of segregation. But it's also about disinvestment, and we need new blood. We need new opportunity flowing through this community. We need partners, corporate partners who will join and say, we want to change the story that exists here on the East Side. There's some wonderful stories, but there's also some pain.